You can go back to, say, the Victorian era, and men used to treat women with an extreme amount of deference because the generations living then remembered a time when the world was a lot more difficult than people now remember it being. So the physical inequality between men and women was emphasized because the world was a much more difficult place. Men took a paternalistic and patriarchal view on how women should be treated, and women wanted men to take that. They wanted to be safe, they wanted to be provided for, they wanted to make sure their children were safe, and men did what they could. Now men have won. They've, the fact we've got aeroplanes flying overhead and the fact that we're not about to be invaded is the victory of Western man. Then for some reason women decided, okay, well I'm not afraid anymore. I want what you have. You don't do the things that we do, so you can't have what we have. But men just want women to be happy. They want them to love them. They want their approval. And so if gaining women's approval means pretending women are equal to men or, saying this, that, and the other, whatever it is, they'll do it. And it's completely taken men off of the throne that they sat on. This throne was never imposed by authority, actually. It was imposed by consent. And the second women withdrew their consent for the man to be on that throne, the throne collapses and the men are just standing around going, okay, well, I guess I'll just play video games and drink beer all day and smoke weed. And if you don't need me, I won't do anything. Because that's really the whole raison d'etre of being a man, just to be needed by someone else. And it's always been women.
I do believe that I'm a 10 full wholeheartedly, because why would I downgrade myself? And all of you ladies should think that you're a 10.
Do you think all women should view themselves as a 10?
I do. I do think all women should have that confidence.
Do you agree with her, other 10?
Yes, if they actually work on themselves.
So all women are 10s?
I think so. Because we're all
Are
amazing.
all men 10s?
I think in their own way, all men can be 10s, yeah.
How come you're willing to give women the like, yes, girls slay, you're all 10s, the confidence, but for men, you're like, maybe they can reach 10 level?
Because I love women and I want to support women.
So men don't need support?
Men do need support. I never said that.
But she does point something out where you were quicker to say, yes, all women are 10s, but there seemed to be hesitation when we were trying to do the same appraisal of men.
Just because I don't find every man attractive, right?
You find all women attractive?
I find a lot of women, most women attractive, yeah.
This is why you have to dog women out when you first start talking to them. When you give a woman everything, she'll leave you with nothing. My brother, welcome back to the streets. And it's a ruthless, ruthless environment. I'm gonna tell you that right now. These women, you don't bring flowers on the first date. It's a waste of time. When you're a true gentleman to a woman, she's gonna sabotage it. You're literally too good for her. So although you might be frustrated, she did you a huge favor. She knew that she was gonna waste your time. And that's just the reality of a lot of high value men in this dating market. These women aren't worth your time, your resources, or your loving gestures. So stop even trying to give it to them. Everything you see online when women say, oh, I want to be treated right, this is what happens when you treat them right. This is what happens. So many good men literally turn evil because of situations like this. And girls wonder, oh, why don't men respect women? Oh, why do guys act like dogs? Because the moment you do the right thing by a woman, I'm telling you, you're going to sit there and regret it. You're going to wish you was the worst version of yourself. This literally brings out the worst version of so many men. But you just have to realize and learn these women are not worth the effort. They're not like our mothers and grandmothers. All these loving things that we grew up seeing in TV and movies, it doesn't work with these type of women. They're toxic, brother. They say they want all these loving things and they go back and they do this. And then yet the same type of woman will still post on her social media store, oh, I want a man to treat me like this, treat me like that. The moment you treat them well, it ends poorly. Every single time. So my brother, just get back out here, do your thing. Don't worry about these women, bro. I'm telling you, put them through the ringer, every single one. Let this be a learning moment moving forward. She needs to earn those gestures. We don't need to give them anything up front. It's trust fund baddies only, pour no more.
I protect if the women don't even have your back. The women don't even have your back. And I've heard this from guys where they would say they would protect a woman from her boyfriend that's beating her. Then the boyfriend would beat them up and then the woman would still go home with the boyfriend. They're like, nope. I am not dealing with this. Max Count says, and people wonder why nobody wants to help anymore. Yeah. you would think you would at least get like honor. I don't want to hear from you women about not getting protection and that the men aren't traditional enough anymore. When this is our reward for traditionalism. This is our reward for traditionalism. When you punish traditionalism, don't be mad that men don't do it. And we've had the talk that the majority of women today do not deserve chivalry. A woman that is ungrateful for chivalry does not deserve it. And there used to be a time where men would actually get something in return for chivalry. They would get a pure wife. They would get a wife that was in shape, and they would get a wife that respects and honors them. And that was the cultural norm. But now the cultural norm is, you can't tell me anything. I'll do what I want, and nobody can tell me I'm wrong.
Many women want to be promiscuous. I actually think it's important for us women to know this, because there's men that will lie to you and men that will be honest with you. In their eyes, women are these angelic creatures that always want marriage, family, and relationships. But the experience of men that date women between 18 to 25, let's say, is that many women want to be promiscuous. If you go to a high-end salon...
Men stopped yearning. Men don't yearn anymore.
And what exactly are they supposed to be yearning for? Quite frankly, I can't see a lot of men yearning after most modern women, especially taking into consideration how a lot of them act.
That's what women want. What they want is to be yearned for.
Oh yes, that's all women want, is to be yearned for. But if we take a look at social media, a lot of women out there are going to want men to chase them to see who can line up to pay their bills so they won't actually have to do anything on their own.
Why do you think Mr. Darcy is such a sought-after gentleman, sir?
They mean the fictional gentleman that was written by a woman for women. Okay.
Why do you think women are reading these fantasy novels about men who are literally crawling out of their grave to get to her?
Do you think a lot of those women possess the same character traits as the heroines in those novels? Probably not. That's why it's called fiction. Fantasy.
That's what women want. It's really not that hard, y'all.
Just a thought, and this might come across a bit harsh, but this goes for men as well as women. In order for someone to be desired, they first have to be desirable.
This young lady has a message to the men.
Okay, we need to normalize guys approaching girls at the gym because right now it's just awkward for everyone.
I've been seeing a lot of videos with women saying this, but I'm going to go ahead and translate what she's actually trying to say.
There will be a guy I see every day. We make eye contact. We do the little half smile thing, and then nothing ever happens.
So there's some guy in the gym. He's 6'8", built like LeBron James. They make eye contact and they smile at each other every day. And because of that, she feels special, not knowing he's making eye contact and smiling at a lot of girls in the gym because he's 6'8" and built like LeBron James.
This goes on for weeks. At that point, we're basically coworkers. I'm not asking to be hit on mid-squat or anything, but if you catch me between sets and just say hi, that's not weird. What's weird is pretending we don't recognize each other after making eye contact 40 times. Like, grow a pair and come talk to me.
So fellas, let me be clear on what she's saying. She wants that guy to come talk to her. Not you. Don't you go walking over there. You're going to end up on a TikTok video. When these women say this, they are talking to specific men. They're not talking to all of us. So do not get tricked. Do not get fooled. Don't let her shame you into doing it, trying to make us feel like we're weak if we don't go over there and talk to her. She's not talking to us. She is talking to him. And most of these women making these videos, they are talking to specific men. They're not talking to the rest of us. This is why you see some women online saying, don't talk to us, and other women saying, talk to us. Because the women who are saying don't talk to us, those are the regular men approaching. The women who are saying come talk to us, those are the good looking men that they want to approach. So don't get it twisted, fellas. I'm just trying to save you some time. That's all I'm doing.
To the women who liked to date men, and only women who like to date men only, this message is for you. If you are not a woman who enjoys or wants to date a man, then keep on scrolling. My rent is $6,000. My nails, $150. My hair, $300 minimum. All right. My facials, at least $200, $250. So I pay for all this myself. I do not expect a man to take care of this for me because he is my partner, not my father. All right. I think the men have left now. Ladies, when a man invites you over to his apartment or his house for the first time, please rob him. Please understand that this man wants you to rob him.
This is why I say women hate other women. And this is why you don't take advice from a lot of these women that you see online. Because what she's telling other women to do is to rob somebody so they can go to jail. God forbid. If he ever had camera of you stealing, you're fucked. I'm telling you, women hate women. They do. Because then you wouldn't give some dumb advice like that.
You know, I think Pearl was talking about men losing faith in chivalry. And it used to be a time where you got something for it. But now you don't get purity. You don't get anything close to purity. You get somebody that was just, you know, I don't even think we can call it exploring anymore. Because exploring, I feel like when you explore, there is some sort of like cautiousness. Like, I don't really know what's around that corner. So I'm going to be careful. I'm looking to see, and I'm going to have an experience, and the experience is going to be bad, and I'm going to stop doing it. So I'm going to step away, and then I'm going to go explore over here. And if there's something that's working, I'm going to keep on doing it. Okay, this works. That's exploring. What y'all are doing is going buck wild. Y'all are going beyond that. It's not even exploratory. You know what's going to happen. You're doing it anyway. You are doing it anyway. You know this is not a good path for you to go down, and you're doing it anyway. And that's what men are saying. And when you get done, when you get used up, and when and people and messed around and did all this other stuff with you, now you want me to treat you as if, well, you know, she's perfect. She's never done any of this stuff. Treat her like a pretty little princess that has to do nothing, that don't have to cook, don't have to clean. I have to do much more than any of these brothers had to do to get her. How is that fair? I don't get that.
Why would I ever need to change? And again, I don't think women understand, like, guys' success rate with women is not as much as women. So if I go out to a club and I get 2 numbers, I'm ecstatic. Like, my day is crazy. You could go to the club. You could walk out down a block and get 15 guys to try to approach you. So
I mean, not always. Men don't really approach me. I'm so serious.
Okay, so they might not approach you. Yes, and we could talk about that too, because I think that's something that we're in now. I think a lot of men don't want to approach women, but I think that's because a lot of things that women have said over the years that have made guys like, nah, you know what, I'm good.
Okay.
But my whole point is that if the majority of women that I'm talking to, if I know that all I have to do is provide for you and make your life comfortable from a financial situation, that I can do anything I want, why the hell would I ever change? Why would any guy change? And I've heard this since I was a kid, and the expression is, don't chase the money. I mean, don't chase women, chase the money. As soon as you get the money, women will come. And y'all have not proven me wrong yet.
Successful men don't want easygoing women. Hear me out. I keep seeing videos where everyone's saying successful men prefer easy women or easygoing women, submissive women. But from what I've noticed, that's not actually true. They prefer women who expand them. So I've recently come across a video explaining the research of Dr. Carol Dweck on growth mindset versus fixed mindset, where men with a growth mindset don't look for comfort, they look for development. So they will be drawn to women who see their blind spots, challenge their thinking, hold them accountable, push them to evolve. Not because these women are demanding or difficult, but because they make them better. So men with a fixed mindset, on the other hand, prefer women that are more, or that make them feel more familiar. Something that's more easy. They want agreeable, they want comfortable, non-confrontational, because growth feels threatening when your identity is fragile. And so if you've ever been told that you're too direct, too intense, too much, good. I'm with you. That doesn't repel the right man. It repels the men that are not capable of growth. So stop shrinking to make yourself more palatable, because the right man doesn't want you smaller. he rises.
The world would be a much better place if women shot their shot more. Now, granted, women do approach men. They do text first, right? But if they did it to the degree where they did that for every man that they've ever wanted, they would probably be in way more satisfactory relationships. Because a lot of what we see are relationships where somebody feels like they're settling. And when somebody feels like they're settling, they'll just start doing more. That just kills the relationship either way. Now, technically, women do shoot their shot, but they do it in their own weird little way. Aside from the direct, like texting somebody first or actually contacting one person first, they do it in those subtle ways where you would never guess. Like, they look at you more than twice. They give you immense eye contact when you guys don't know each other. She puts herself in your vicinity, in your area, so she is available to talk to. She puts down her phone. She takes off her earbuds. It'd be indirect like that, right? We've all experienced the text first. We've all experienced the just hitting up first and those indirect signs. But if more women walked up to the men that they find attractive and they shot their shot, they would probably have a much happier dating life because they would be 100% from, nope, they would be 90% from the field. I understand women do go up and approach men that they really want or that they find attractive, but they don't do it to the degree of men. If they did it more, I promise you, they would have satisfactory results. The crazy thing is, women are so used to it, they see that as a normal interaction. If they were to do that to a man, that would make a man's year, that would make a man's life. He would remember that for the rest of their life. That's not something you just forget, because that is rare for a man to experience. Men will remember that regardless of what the woman looks like. There have been some women that have approached me that I did not find attractive, that were not my type, and there were some that I actually did like, that I did find attractive. But no matter what, I never forgot any of those experiences. Why? Because it is more rare for that to happen to a man in real life than anywhere else. You remember that for the rest of your life. Join the Discord. You guys have a great day, night, whenever you see this.
The data is pretty stark and clear. If you go into a morgue and there's 5 people, by 4 men, more women-owned homes, single women-owned homes in the U.S. than men. And by the way, we should do nothing to get in the way of that. If 1 in 3 men are in a relationship under the age of 30, 2 in 3 women under the age of 30 are in a relationship, and you think, well, that's mathematically impossible. Well, it's not, because women are dating older because they want more economically and emotionally viable men. There are now 1 in 7 men in the United States are considered NEETs. They're neither in education, employed, or in training. So there was just this crazy stat, a couple crazy stats I've seen in the last week. Men between the ages of 20 and 30 are spending less time outside than prison inmates. And 45% of men 18 to 24 have never asked a woman out in person. So we're essentially producing, I would argue, or evolving a species of asocial, asexual males. And the gag reflex, which is understandable, is like, well, they should just get their act together. And women have had these problems for thousands of years. Why is your hair on fire now? And the knock-on effects are pretty severe for society, because if we're going to have an honest conversation around mating, I believe GDP, AI, podcasts, it's all a means. The ends is, I think, for most people, secure and loving households. I think that is where we find the most purpose, the most reward, the most happiness, is building a life with someone.
Women are purposely staying single because men aren't men anymore. So let's take some time to unpack this. Because the men that we were too insensitive, we were too sexist, we were too emotionally unavailable, we were too dangerous. But now that we're trying to grow and see ourselves beyond the identities of provider and protector, somehow we're not real men anymore. What is it that those same men that we've been trying to get away from, that you've been asking us to stop being, what is the difference between them and who we are today? Because we're starting to communicate a whole lot more. We're starting to practice emotional intelligence. And you know what's funny? As soon as we started talking and speaking far more honestly about how we feel, specifically about women, that's when the problem started. What men are expressing today is no different than what the men before us were feeling but never said. From what I'm gathering, as long as we kept it to ourselves, as long as we stayed quiet, everything was fine. I mean, it almost feels like another version of shut up and dribble. If my emotions don't matter unless you agree with them, you really don't value my emotions. There's no benefit to me being open and honest with you if every time that I open up, I'm gonna get punished for it. But let's keep the ball rolling. What if it's about money? Men are more comfortable having the 50-50 conversation than they used to be when it came to traditional roles. But I feel like we should understand by now that this economy demands a dual income household. So are we not real men because we don't want to shoulder the weight of all the finances in the relationship? Because if that's the case, what was the fight for when it came to equality and breaking the glass ceiling? I'll wrap it up like this. Don't try to say we're not real men because you don't benefit from us like you used to. If you don't want the men that we were, you also reject what men like that provided. Men aren't customizable. You don't get to pick and choose what we are and what you get. Women have to give men the opportunity to, one, be themselves, but two, they have to give themselves the opportunity to get to know the men that they ask for.
Here's my hot take, and it's probably going to piss a lot of you off. Men only want to be fed and left alone. And the reason that they get mad is because at least one of 3 of these things is not happening.
12 seconds later.
I'm laughing at myself because I just rewatched that video and wow. I'm too evolved for it because in this moment, I am realizing that I have a lot of work to do around hating men. And who would have thought that if I want men to respect me, I need to respect them as well.
Here's my hot take that might ruffle some feathers. She is only scratching the surface, and absolutely she's right in that she needs to do a ton of work at dismantling her hate for men. But it is not just that men need respect. Like, absolutely they need that. Like, I think that is a human decency, like, basic for anybody. But what the man needs that you're wanting to be in a relationship with is for you to understand men, for you to understand him. And that historically is what women struggle with the most, because what it takes from women is not always being right, taking accountability, saying I'm sorry, and putting the relationship needs beyond your own personal gain. That is what most women struggle with, even women that already respect men as a whole. Unfortunately, the men that come along and try to help her in the healing process, those are the guys that are like most likely the really good guys. They are genuine and they are patient and they are loyal. Unfortunately, those are the guys that end up getting the most hurt, and that is what's really messed up.
And I guess here's the thing for me, because I think Scott Galloway was talking about, you know, women are dating older men. But when you start to date an older man is more established. And so a lot of the foolishness that modern women be coming with, an older man don't have to stand for that. He does, like, he don't have to take that because, you know, you're coming to me for a certain thing. You're coming to me because, you know, I'm good for it. And so when I tell you something, when I'm talking to you about something, I don't want to hear any nonsense. And that's what modern women are doing. They're going into these relationships talking to men as if they have the same level of experience. I can see if he was doing that with a guy that was around your same age, but y'all are going into relationships with guys that are 7, 8, 9 years your senior, and then thinking that you know just as much, if not more than them. Well, I was considered mature in high school, so I definitely have more experience or as much experience, and I know more than him. No, you don't. You're not even close. I'm not going to get it right all the time, but I'm going to tell you this is the way that we need to go. Because when I was your age and in your shoes, I did the same thing. And I'm telling you right now, or I've seen friends do the same thing, and I've seen how it turns out for them. So instead of allowing me or allowing you to do things that I know is not going to work, it's probably going to hurt you more than it helps you, I'm telling you to go this way. But instead, modern women ruin it, and they find themselves back on the street because they think they know as much, if not more, than the man that is older than them.
My husband and I have been together for 15 years. He's the epitome of the saying, he's a good man, Savannah. However, I've always known that he was in 2 other relationships, one with his mom and the other his career. He prioritizes and considers them without question, while I've proven my position and still feel like I'm in second place most times. How can I get him to always treat me like I'm number one without taking away from his other loves?
I think you got to be careful. The mama angle, I 100% agree. But in terms of a man's purpose comes first, baby. And the worst place that you can be is between a man and his purpose. A lot of women lose sight of what brought you to that man in the first place. A lot of women aspire for a lot of things, right? I want a successful man. I want a certain lifestyle. But a lot of women are not willing to sacrifice the time that it takes for that man to create that environment for you.
Kitty, why you keep making these faces?
I don't want to make this a gender thing because I don't want no one to use this against nobody. But women, we show up as friends, as mothers, as wives, as everything else. We show up and we still serve our husbands, but marriage is still a part of your purpose. Let's not forget that when you have a wife, that's where your favor comes from to begin with. So even in the purpose that you have with this business and everything else, you should still be able to prioritize your wife. Your wife is not a threat to your purpose. The problem is you have not been able to find balance in what you do. You've prioritized and tried to compartmentalize things, bring it together. Your wife can advance the things that you have. Prioritize your wife because then she can nurture and feed you and pour and invest into you so you can show up better in your life, so you can show up better in your business. I don't understand this conversation. I don't get that. And that's the reason why so many women feel like they are being neglected in their marriages, because y'all prioritize your careers. You laid down and made vows in front of God and said you were going to take care of his daughter. So if that is the case, then make sure you take care of your wife while you are still doing this, because I guarantee you when you no longer have that career, guess who's still going to be behind you? Guess who's still going to be behind you?
This is crazy.
Going to be behind you. Nope. We still going to be behind them. Nope. Y'all always want to play that. Y'all always want to play that. And I hate when y'all do that, because I can guarantee you, y'all always want to do that, because we have seen women do it. We have seen, I don't care. No, I ain't gaslighting nothing. That's the problem. I can't stand when y'all do that. I cannot stand that. Y'all are talking about those women who just came in there to use you to begin with. But the women who actually love you, if they see you fall off, it's those women they gonna fight behind you to make sure that you get back on your feet. So make sure that you nurture your wife.
These young ladies are asking our sons for money. And as a boy mom, they used to really grind my gears, because this little girl sent my son a $100 Temu request. First of all, I didn't even know you could do that. Thank you. Also, terrible discernment, bad management. My son not even dropping the fries, and he doesn't have a license. He was 15 years old, girl. Now you, I feel like you asking me for money, because where he going to get it from? He ain't selling no drugs, is he? Have you seen Malcolm X, young lady? Huh? Have you? Do you know what happens to you when you put your hands in somebody else's pocket? These young.
So, listen, are you surprised by this? Are you surprised? Check it out right there. The caption says, boy mom problems. Boy mom problems in a modern world in 2026, just the beginning of the year. So what's happening in 2026? Well, I think a comment said it best when they said they're being programmed. This one right here. She says they're being programmed. By who? By TikTok. Of course they're seeing the messages, right? The messages of women encouraging other women, and also the young women, because they forget the young ones are also online, encouraging them to ask men for money. And this is something I actually think about a lot when I make these type of videos. I know on the other end of the screen, it's not just men like myself who see those type of videos, but it's also younger boys who are like, okay, so I need to get money and I don't have any. And the younger girls are thinking, well, why don't I ask the boys who like me for money? Because that's what these other women are saying I should do. They're not saying don't have kids outside of wedlock. Maybe that's becoming more of a popular thing now. For a long time, that wasn't the focus, right? It wasn't about responsibility, doing better. And yes, the boys need these type of messages too. But of course, they're learning this from TikTok. You want a society where young women believe that the most important thing a man can provide for you is money. Then you want to be surprised when all of a sudden a Diddy pops up who has all the money and now believes now that he's won the game and acquired all the success, all the power, he now can have his way. This is one of the points I made during the whole Diddy situation. I believe Diddy is a sick man. I've said this plenty of times. I don't take it back. I believe he is. However, I also think that society encourages those type of men to pretty much know that once they get to where he's at or where he was act or that level of success, then there are women out here who do whatever he wants them to.
If you could get rid of men, snap your finger, would you do it?
I think I would have to sacrifice a big, and I think I would do it if I was capable, because the world would be a better place.
The world would be a better place if all men disappeared.
Men commit the payoff, no violent
no
crimes. If we wipe out 90% of crimes, there's only 10 left.
I genuinely think if you just disappear all men instantly without any preparation, I think like within 2 weeks, 50% of women are. You have to assume if you get rid of all men, because all men are way disproportionately the ones responsible for overseeing infrastructure, you get rid of all men.
He's woke. Confirmed.
What does that have to do with woke?
Men are in charge of like all of the infrastructure.
Telecoms, truck drivers, waste management, all men disappear on multiple levels that you couldn't even comprehend. There would be cascading infrastructure fuckery. The food supply, gone. Fires are going to break out within a couple days. There's no firemen to put them out.
There's fire women that already have jobs.
In my own personal experience, the difference in the male attention that I receive when my hair is straightened versus when it's naturally curly is astronomical. I receive much more male attention when my hair is straightened rather than when it is naturally curly. Why that is, I can just only assume that men are wired to find women with straight hair more attractive. Women can fully grasp and understand how rare it is to have naturally curly hair and the beauty of this rare physical quality. And I don't think men think that deeply, unfortunately. At the end of the day, it just really matters what you place your value and worth in. And if it's not stupid little boys that can't see the depth in anything, then you're on the right track. So
This is such a good example of how a woman will get mad at men for having preferences that do not match her. Of course, every man has different preferences. Some men are gonna love curly hair. Other men are going to love straight hair. Many men just don't care. Or maybe they kind of like the variety, like they like to see you both ways. But instead, you're mad at men in general, or at least the men that you're interested, that you want to like you. You're mad at them for having preferences that are different than your physical traits. So then you insult them and you shame them. You make it about their depth. Like they just can't think that deeply. They can't see the beauty of curly hair. That is just taking it a little too far. And by the way, I will wear my hair both ways because my hair is actually naturally wavy. And what I have heard from my husband is that he feels like he can't touch my hair when it's curled. Like he doesn't know what to do with it. When it's straight, he feels like he can touch it. So I think that sort of plays in a little bit because it feels more approachable that he likes my straight hair a little bit more than my curly hair. For you guys that have made it this far, I'm going to put 3 comments down below and I want you to like the one that you agree with. Either you don't care, you like curly hair, or you like straight hair more. And then after a day, I'll make a follow-up video and let you guys know the results.
Women cry first and hardest, men cry later and longest. Women internalize and address, men distract and project. When a woman goes through a breakup, she does an entire rebrand of her entire life. She does a mood board, vision board, haircut, new job. She builds a life that she's deeply excited about. Now men, specifically avoidantly attached men, they actually feel relief in the beginning and they justify the breakup to avoid accountability, and they don't actually reflect where they went wrong. Because you have to understand that from a young age, men are not taught to prioritize relationships the way women are. Men are taught to prioritize their career, status, and making money. And so that's what he does. He throws himself into distractions, his work, dating apps, and surface level flings, really anything to avoid sitting with himself. He doesn't prioritize building a vision for his future, and a man without a vision will always return to his past lovers, his past behaviors, and eventually someone easier, someone who won't require him to change and become the best version of himself. At the time, he's okay with that, but eventually he's finally left with his thoughts, and that is when he begins to mourn the loss of the relationship and the loss of you, because what he comes to realize is that replacing physical intimacy is very easy, but replacing emotional intimacy, specifically emotional intimacy that you have built over months, years, decades, you've gone through hardships with this person, that is much harder to replicate with another person.
You know, I think if we go back to the clip where, Kitty was talking about, you got to take care of your wife, you got to nurture your wife. The women that you're talking about, that, because I think, they were talking about, hey, this is, you got to understand a man's purpose. That's always going to be first, right? And essentially what he's talking about that I don't think that Kitty understands, I think she understands it to a degree, but I don't think women fully understand the vision. Without the vision, you're not going to be here. And I mean, it just is what it is. But you still got to nurture her and you got to show her attention for sure. But some of these ladies, they want you to take a full day, like a full weekend. Oh, well, let's just go do this, and let's just hang out. And they don't understand every day that you're hanging out, you're not making money. So the lifestyle that you have and the thing, well, I can help you out, this, and this. And you're not actually helping out. I'm telling you, you're helping out in the way that if you do this for me, you're going to be helping out, right? This is how you can help me do these things. And a lot of times, and I do understand, men get caught up in their career and they don't spend any time with their woman or their wife. You can't do that. And so that's what she was talking about with the balance. You gotta have a little bit of balance there to, come home and, hey, let me see if I can take a few hours here and there, go back to work, and then, kind of burn the candle at both ends. If you appreciate that I have to work a little bit later now, and then, kind of help me out for, kind of coming in there and kicking it with you. It's not that I want to. You have to understand there's so much pressure on a man to provide. You know what I mean? And we're not even talking about living in like a rich, expensive house. But, modern women, a lot of these ladies, they look at a lot of stuff and they want a lot of stuff. And a lot of that stuff costs a little bit of money, right? Well, I don't need this, I don't need that. Okay, maybe you don't. Maybe you don't need it, but that's what you would really like. And men know, hey, I gotta do something. I gotta get her something. So I gotta make something shake. And don't have children, because if I have children, I gotta work. All of this, I just want to have fun. And modern women do that. You just vibe out. Oh, well, it'll come from somewhere. Not that, this and that. If I'm not working, it ain't coming from nowhere. That's the reality of it. And that's what men are locked into. That's what he was talking about. Well, the vision is the vision and the purpose is the purpose. I'm not trying to ignore you, but we just had a bad month and I got to make that up. The bills are still going to come. I got to do something. So that's where I think a lot of times they don't really understand. That's where men are coming from. I still got to work. I still got things to do in order to keep you where you are.
Every time you have another kid by another man or multiple kids by multiple men, your dating pool of men that will take you serious and want to date you to marry you and see you as a wifey prospect and see you as somebody they want to build their life with and take serious gets smaller. And that's just bottom line, period. End of story, end of discussion, no argument. I keep seeing this discourse on TikTok about single moms and dating single moms and who doesn't want to date single moms and, oh, you're not worthy and all this stuff. Blah, blah, blah. As a former single mom of 2 kids with 2 baby daddies, I have the room to say what I'm about to say. And that's a hard truth to swallow as a woman that, hey, I made this decision thinking I trusted this person and wanted to have a family with this person and it didn't work out. And now because of that, there's like a whole group of men that don't even like see me as a dating. Yes. And that's just it.
A lot of men avoid divorced women and single moms, not because they're bad people, okay, but because of the baggage that comes with it. Let's break it down, shall we? A divorced woman usually carries emotional scars. She's been through betrayal, conflict, failure, child custody, and often she hasn't healed from it. That pain doesn't just disappear. It bleeds into the next relationship. Men can feel that bitterness, that distrust, and most don't want to pay for what the last man did. Now let's talk about the single moms. It's not just about dating her. It's about inheriting her past. The ex is always in the picture. The baby daddy will be forever tied to her and her child. And no matter how great the guy is, he's never the first priority. Her kids will be. And they should be. The child should come first. But most men aren't signing up to be second place in their own relationship. It doesn't mean divorced women or single moms can't find love. That's not what I'm saying. But it does mean the pool is smaller. So stop shaming men for wanting less baggage. It's not hate, it's honesty. If you want a high-value man, you've got to bring more than wounds and history to the relationship. You have to bring healing, peace, and partnership, because that's what men stay for.
Wonder why women are able to get over a relationship so quickly? How they're able to just monkey branch to the next guy, not even give it a thought? Meanwhile, the guy's heart is broken and they just are cold-blooded? You guys ever wonder why? I'll tell you why. It's a biological imperative, my friends. Okay, it's called Brules Law. Basically, once the man stops providing value to her, she's going to end the relationship. Okay? The formation of the relationship and the existence of the relationship is basically based on the female's needs and if they're still being met. If they're not, the relationship more than likely will end. Because like I've told you guys before, women are professional and biological resource extractors. If they're no longer able to extract from you, the time is ticking and they will leave. And this is a very uncomfortable reality that we don't teach young men. Brules Law, also known as the Brules Law of the animal family, states that in animal societies, the female, not the male, determines the conditions of family life. This means that if the female doesn't see a benefit in associating with the male, no such association will occur. Burn this into your brain, guys. Brules Law, also known as Brules Law of the animal family, states that in animal societies, the female, not the male, determines the conditions of family life. This means that if the female doesn't see a benefit in associating with the male, no such association will occur. In essence, the female's needs and preferences dictate the social structure and relationships within a species. Okay? You guys gotta burn this to your brain. Okay? This law right here is gonna keep you from simping. This law right here is going to aware you on how women really move. So when they break up with you and you're sitting there crying, wondering why are they so cold-blooded?
Men marry the safe girl much more than they marry the dream girl.
Interesting theory. I wonder if that can actually be proven. Or is that just something that some women try to say to justify why they've been left by a man for a better woman? Because from what I have seen, most men actually do marry their dream woman, someone who brings them happiness and peace, as opposed to someone who brings them nothing but nightmares.
And that is because protecting their ego matters more to them than chasing someone who would never accept anything less than the best.
Let's be brutally realistic for a moment. There are some women out there who really have not the slightest idea what actually makes a woman a good woman, or has any concept at all of what many men consider to be marriage material in a woman. Because just a friendly reminder, a lot of men usually know very early on in the stages of a relationship if they're ever even going to consider marrying that woman. But the reason most of these women are so lost in the sauce is because they spend the majority of their time listening to other women, mostly single women, describe the best ways to keep a man in a relationship.
What happened to men pursuing girls?
What happened? Why aren't men pursuing women anymore? Honestly, I don't know why women keep asking this question over and over. But let's see if we can try and explain it to them one more time. But let's be honest though, the answers we're giving them are going to go in one ear and right out the other, because the reality is they don't really want to know what men actually think. They just want men to validate what they think is the reason, even though it's completely wrong. So why are men not approaching women anymore? Well, to quote an old guy from a few hundred years ago, let me count the ways. And I'm going to give you the 3 biggest reasons why men have stopped approaching. Number 1, because there's nothing to be gained in doing so. Sorry, ladies, but men have figured out that while you think you can have all the insane expectations in the world, you know, like if he isn't 6 feet tall, with 6-pack abs and a 6-figure income, you also tell us,
do you think chivalry is...
Yeah, but maybe I just haven't been around the right guys.
To quote the great Dave Chappelle, he says, chivalry is and women it. Certainly, I think social media, dating apps have played a big factor. But I think that when it comes to like who should pay on the first date, guys doing these sort of traditional things, like a lot of women seem to just blithely assume that traditional gender roles assigned to men are something that they are entitled to the benefits of by magical default, instead of it being something that women have to help culture and nurture for it to be there for men. If you want traditional treatment, you ought to be a traditional woman. If you're not a traditional woman, you cannot expect traditional treatment from men.
I have to argue with that. Like, I think I'm a traditional woman.
Are you? I mean, you said
I
you've had like what, 30 plus partners?
I don't think that has anything.
You say you're what, like 33 or something?
34?
I ain't nothing. Don't listen to them.
Yeah.
You're doing great, girl.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, I go to church every weekend. I'm like very spiritual. I know what I want. Sometimes you haven't met the right person yet, and there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah, women dress up for each other, not to impress men. Science proves it.
Crazy how women will quite literally completely change their mentality based off of just wanting to win an argument, right? For years they've been saying, for years, oh, we don't do it for men, we do it for ourselves. But the second that a man says, hey, you don't dress up for men, you dress up for you. No, we actually dress up for men. We dress to impress men. We've always done it to impress men. We want to get the attention. It's actually been true all along. Am I right now? Like, a woman will literally snitch on herself just to win the argument at hand. Doesn't matter if it disproves all of the other arguments she's ever addressed in the past. As long as she wins this argument, she'll make sure to tell you what the truth is to prove you wrong.
Went to a singles mixer, and only women showed up.
Duh. Like, why? Okay, dudes who get women wouldn't go to a mixer because they already get women. They just exist and they get women. And then dudes who don't get no women, they're not gonna go to a rejection buffet. They already taking L's in the DMs and on the streets and everywhere else.
I can't even lie. He's really telling some truth in there. And this is coming from a guy that was going to those singles mixers. Those events can get really interesting. Especially for me being new to the dating scene and stuff like that. It was always weird for me to go to an event and be like 30 women and only maybe like 6 dudes. So statistically, you're like, oh, the odds are in my favor, but it's a lot going on. One, you have to have confidence to be in that situation. So if you ever have any esteem issues or anything like that, you will not thrive in that environment. And the second thing is, and I'll say for me, it was always a thought, okay, one, is there anybody here that actually is catching my eye that's physically attractive? Because that's, to be honest, at some of these events, it's not a lot of it. So is she physically attractive for one? Does she have good energy? Okay, cool. Now, is there anybody else? Because if I talk to this girl, that's probably going to X out my ability to talk to this other girl because they've all seen there's only maybe 4 to 6 men here. So they're keeping an eye out for us in these environments too. So if I talk to her, that's probably going to any chance I have with anybody else in the room, or else I'm going to keep hearing, so what made you choose me? I saw you talking to the other girl. And that's not something we want to do. So that's the stuff that goes through my mind when I was going to those events.
And it, to the point of what Myron was saying, they're going to want something from the relationship. This is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. Right? That's the you have to understand that even though it seems harsh, men are dealing in reality. This is the reality of the situation. This is what it looks like. For the, oh, well, this and this, and I don't think this and this. This is what it comes back down to, because we're listening to you. You said one thing, well, I would never do this to a man, and I will do this for my man. And a man, a lot of times, because that's what men do, men test it. And they say, well, you tested me. No, a man will sit there and watch you. A man will sit there and observe you. A lot of men, and that's why you don't get approached. A lot of men are watching and observing you from afar, even before they talk to you. It might be in person or it might be online. He sees your Instagram, he sees your Facebook or your TikTok and the things that you do. And he says, is this a woman that I could be with, or, possibly want to get to know based on the way that she's acting? I don't think so. She's pretty though, but it's just too much. And even some of those men say, she's kind of out there. Some of these things make me a little uncomfortable, but maybe there's some things that I do that make other people uncomfortable. Maybe there's some quirks that I have. So maybe we can get together on that and, kind of compromise. But modern women, once again, they're so far out there, they can't do it. And so he just backs up and says, no, I'm not going down this path. Right? Because I understand the reality of things. I understand that regardless of what you're saying, you're actually going to say that and then go do another thing.